Hello, hello to our old friends and new friends joining us in person and on live stream. If this is, I'm Worship Associate Mari Magaloni Ramos here at the First Unitarian Universalist Society of San Francisco. Our music director, Mark Sumner, will be leading the service today. If this is your first time joining us, I'd like to welcome you especially. You'll be able to follow along using your order of service, which is also available on video and is emailed to everyone who receives our newsletter, which we invite you to get by signing up here in the lobby or through a link to our connection form in the order of service and in the video descriptions. The order of service also lists upcoming events and links to opportunities to connect, including our coffee hour, which takes place in the courtyard after the service. I'd like to take a moment to thank the many wonderful folks who are making our worship possible today. I'd like to thank our choir and our guest musicians, who Mark will be introducing in detail in a moment. Thanks also to Shu Li Ong and Eric Shackelford for working the cameras this morning, and also to Stephen Kroger in charge of audio, Gregory Stevens, who is running the online chat this morning. If you are online and have any trouble, get in touch with him and he will help you as best he can. Thanks also to our sextons, Matias Salazar and Tony Miller, and to Judy Payne for the gorgeous flowers, and Linda Messner for coordinating the ushers. Just a quick COVID note. Masks are not required indoors, but we encourage you to wear them if that makes you safer. And there are pews on the side that are labeled masked only. So you can also sit in a section where you're surrounded only by people wearing masks. And we do prioritize our most vulnerable members and friends, so please be considerate. Thank you. And Mark, it's all yours.
Thank you, Mari. This past quarter of a century, I have been particularly proud and thrilled and honored to be allowed to set aside one Sunday morning service a year for some rather serious music making. Serious in that it pretty much ends up filling the entire worship hour. Big Music Sunday, we call it. And today we have Big Music Sunday that is different in at least three ways. First, it does not feature our resident choir, usually in the center of the bigness. Some are here today, but others are hither and yon. Second, it's not big in the sense of size and numbers as in years past. We have gathered almost 200 performers from as many as 4 different choirs, as well as a full orchestra. Third, it is big, however, in the sense that today we have a fount of many blessings in having the Arete singers here, sharing their time and talent with us. This fascinating group of vocalists from all over the Bay Area can be read about in your order of service, but I will point out to those of you who have been around, you should recognize several members in the ensemble, one in particular, Tim Salaver, who also happens to be its founder and its leader. Tim, could you join me up here at the pulpit? In our last Big Music Sunday prior to the pandemic, Tim was performing here, that entire service being a mashup of a large number of sung settings from both the ordinary of the Mass and the Mass for the Dead, the Requiem Mass. 4 years ago, I called it a mass-up. Today, the service is actually the second of 3 performances given within a 22-hour period by these sturdy folk. A weekend of healing and peace, music for organ and choir. The full program last night in Pleasanton featured its own mashup, as well as a world premiere of a Missa Brevis, but more on that in a moment. I'm going to ask Tim to share a few words about what this collective of music means to him. Collection, I should say, of music means to him, and if you could introduce the creator of the centerpiece of our musical worship service today. Tim.
It's good to be back. Good day, everyone, and welcome to a morning of healing and peace, music for organ and choir. I've chosen the organ and choir compositions that evoke healing and peace, providing solace and comfort in times of grief and sorrow. I would love for us to celebrate our loved ones who have passed. Let the music fill you with the joy that they brought you and your family. And I really encourage you to use this time for reflection and thought. This weekend, I have gathered a cadre of talented conductors who are invited to share the podium with me to honor my mother, who was the first Filipina organist and choir director in the United States. In 1953, she came to the United States penniless and without a job, accompanied by her soldier husband and 4 young children, all under the age of 8. Her first job was as a secretary for the Northern California, Nevada Council of Churches located at Old First Presbyterian Church on Van Ness Avenue. It was from this position that she would develop her community and political connections that would benefit immigrants arriving in San Francisco and the state of California. She became an artist, activist, and theologian. There wasn't much she couldn't do. She was the founder and president of the Philippine American Cultural Foundation, which worked with the city of San Francisco and local churches to produce cultural events for the Filipino community. She was recognized by the California State Senate for her work in supporting and promoting the minority populations in the city of San Francisco and the state of California. She also worked with Assemblyman Willie Brown to pass a law allowing foreign-born dentists to practice in the state of California. But today, she was the mother who drove me to San Francisco Boys Chorus, San Francisco Symphony, and San Francisco Opera rehearsals and performances. She inspired my lifelong love of classical music, and for that, I wish to honor her memory with today's concert.
And I also want to take this opportunity because I believe Tim has had past relationship working with Luke and his music, Luke Meyernick. I want to welcome Luke to the organ. He's in a saddle that is rarely occupied by anyone else, other than Reiko, of course, Reiko Lane. And Reiko and Luke met a couple days ago so that she could show him the ropes. But welcome, Luke. You will hear from him and about his Missa Brevis that we will use as kind of the focus of the service in the middle of our worship today. I will finish off by saying thank you so much, Tim, and a hearty, sincere welcome to the choir. Luke, our guest conductors and soloists today, each listed in the order of service. You will have a perfect and inspired reason to greet them and each other following today's postlude. I did promise a music-filled worship, so I will now finish by leading you into worship, asking you to join me in the reading in unison the words to light our chalice. We light this chalice for the light of truth, the warmth of love, and the fire of commitment. We light this symbol of our faith as we gather together.